So, season so far, we're doing all right, up to 5th. Daniel Farke looks like he's the man at the moment. Rutter dancing on players. We've got Dan James tearing up the championship. Ethan Ampadu looking good. Our back line looking good. Things are looking all right at Leeds.
Looking great. They're looking really, really good. I mean, we're joined fourth, actually. We're only, 1 goal or 2 goals off being fourth. We're only a point behind third. And the only reason we're not in the top 2 spots is because Ipswich and Leicester have started the season on fire and have lost 1 game each. Who saw that coming? Well, Leicester maybe, but not from Ipswich. I don't think anybody saw that from Ipswich. And I don't think it'll last either with Ipswich, if I'm being very honest as well. I mean, they've already lost to us. I think they'll probably lose to us again, if I'm being cocky.
Nice.
And then we've got to look at beating Leicester. But if you look at the start of the season, I mean, our first 4 games was draw, loss, draw, win. One win in our first 4. You look at the chaos that happened in the summer and how, I keep saying this, how professionally Daniel Farke handled the summer and how the 49ers have trusted him to be the face of the club. And he's done an amazing job. And he, whatever happens this season, to get us in the position we're in right now, considering what happened in pre-season, he deserves a huge amount of credit for that and will do no matter what happens this season. But I think we're finding form at the right time. The Southampton game was a blip. I think he will have learned an awful lot from that. I always say you learn more from defeats than you do from wins. Winning, you don't really come away from it learning anything. You're like, we won the game, great stuff, everything worked, brilliant. And then you like, what did we learn? That we're good. Okay, can't really work on that, can we? But when you lose a game, you find out the areas where you're weak, and we've had a couple of games this season. We've lost 2. We've got obviously the 4 draws, and it's the draws that will kill you in the championship. But I think we've turned them around. We've started turning draws into wins, and we've started turning losses into draws. And I think those accumulative points over the course of the season will become more and more wins. I think there's certain players hitting form at the right time, and I still don't think we're out of third gear. I still think there's a huge amount to come. I think when Chris Somerville learns to let the ball go a half a yard earlier, I think he's going to set the league on fire because I think he's that close to absolutely igniting the league. Georgina Rutter has been an enigma at this year. I mean, at the start of the season, I just said I didn't expect this from him. Nobody did. But then he had a couple of moments in games early on the season where he was great 1 minute and then he'd fall over the ball and you'd be like, But as his confidence has grown, what he's doing on the pitch has grown. His involvement is 10 big chances created in the championship, the most of any player, and one ahead of Mo Salah, who is the second highest in the entire pyramid of English football. So that's not bad company to be in either. Joe Perreault and Dan James fall into the bracket of being effective for me, more so than being clinical. Well, Perreault's clinical. Dan's clocking up his assists, getting a couple of goals. His performances haven't all been perfect, but they don't need to be as long as he's being effective and affecting games, which he has been doing. And Joe Perreault is the same, as long as he keeps popping up. And now, I said this a couple of weeks ago to somebody, I've been watching him in the 10. I'm still swapped him around, him and Rutter. But I think the way in the last 2 games, they've swapped over an awful lot more. And I think it's looked really, really good. But I've been watching Perreault in the 10 and what he does versus what Rutter does when he drops in there. Rutter gets at the feet, tries to turn the player and get moving towards goal. Perreault's a little short pass here, a little short pass here, a little short pass here. Just keeps the game ticking over in there. It kind of goes unnoticed, but he's been very, very good. And the story has been the backline. I did criticize Pascal Struijk at the start of the season, the first game of the season. I said he wasn't a good defender because based on last season and what I saw against Cardiff in the opening day, I just thought we can't do this. And he has grown so much over the course of this season to the point where, again, I said the weekend, seeing the captain's armband on him, didn't look out of place at all. He's been an absolute machine back there. And he has this lovely partnership between the pretty Pascal Struijk with the lovely hair and the perfectly clean kit and the shirt tucked in, and Joe Rodon beside him, who's got 2 black eyes, a bandage on his head, and it looks like he's about to cry at any moment because he's just in chronic pain all the time. And the partnership between the two of them has been a joy to watch. You get Sam Byron for a free transfer at left back, and that's turned out to be a masterstroke as well, so far anyway.
Yeah.
And all around the park, I think it's very hard to pick a player out this season who's been poor, really, really poor. I know Lucas struggled at times, and I know Cooper as well, but they're at the back end of their career. They're adding something different to the squad. But I think we're in a really, really strong position coming into the international break, and I think coming out of it, the run between now and the next break in November, I think you'll see Leeds step it up again. And each break we've had, we've come back a little bit faster. And I think the players are still getting used to this system that Farke is putting together. And I can only see it getting better from here. So I'm very positive about the season so far.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And you said you can't point out a player who's actually been bad. And I completely agree with you because if you even start at the back, Melier looks more comfortable. I can now, if he's got a ball at his feet, I can look away now. A couple of seasons ago, I was kind of like, get rid of it. And he looks more comfortable. Pascal taking it on the half turn. I'm comfortable with him. Same with Joe. I mean, Joe Rodon gives Ben White vibes for me. The way he runs through defenders is. I don't want to fall in love with a lone player again, but I think I already have. Sam Byram, I keep saying in videos, my most underrated player this season. If you watch him, defending wise, he's brilliant. Technically, he's a very, very good footballer. And that's because he's played on the right hand side. He's played everywhere. He's technically a really good footballer. Like you said, Luke Aylen, we're still trying to find that right back. Obviously, when Jed Spence comes in, that'll be nicer. That's going to be that back line. I can't wait for it. The midfield, Ampadu, Glenn Kamara, Archie Gray. You can't. I can't remember one of them making a mistake. They've had a couple of mere moments, but them three in the middle of the park. And people are saying about Gruev, they're saying, why is he not getting minutes? Was it because them three are undroppable at the moment? They're unstoppable. Yeah. They're brilliant, and I don't think it's a good situation to be in that we can't drop midfielders because they're too good. And then, like you've already praised the front four, not even including Willie Nonto, even Anthony and things like that. We've got even Bamford. He looked all right when he came on the other day. So we've got a very, very strong team. And like you said, the fixtures leading up to the next international break, it looks good. And it looks like we could pick up more points and put pressure on that top two. And I'm just enjoying Leeds United. What I think that if this is a bit of a bold, I don't know if this is a bit of a bold statement to say. I always like to say these sort of things. If Daniel Farke gets us promoted first time of asking, shouldn't even say this. Is he on the same sort of bracket as Bielsa? Or do you think it was a whole cultural thing with Bielsa after 16 years he came in? Or is it kind of like he's come in, he's got us promoted? Or what are your thoughts on that? I know that's a bit of a crazy statement. Don't hurt me comments.
I don't think it's a crazy statement because it's the same thing. It's getting Leeds back to the Premier League. I think the difference is how bad we were before Bielsa took them over, and the fact that he took a team of pretty much the same players and made them a Premier League team, with the odd addition here and there, but nothing major. Daniel Farke has been able to put together a team that he wants, albeit through restrictions, and he's had to be very, very clever. Nick Hammond deserves a huge amount of credit as well. Greta Steinson deserves a massive amount of credit for that as well. Angus Kinnear, and I know we don't like giving Angus credit, but I think he deserves a bit of credit for that as well. They put together a proper recruitment team, and that's growing and only going to get bigger. So I think they deserve a huge amount of credit. I think it's slightly different just in the scenario that he walked into, but he did walk into his own problems. He did walk into a club where we'd 14 players who are like, I'm off, don't want to be here anymore. No. And then the club going, well, we're not selling them, we're loaning them out because we need their book value to go back up. So you can't have that money.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So you look at Leicester, we're selling players and buying players. We were like, gotta be creative here. And I think the aggressive comment was wielded out by Parag at the start of the just after the takeover. And it was a bold statement, and everyone was questioning it all summer, going, yeah, where's the aggressive? Where's the aggressive? And you look back on it now and you go, the players that we brought in were aggressive in terms of going after the players we wanted. And my big take on this is if you were to buy a player now for Leeds, who do you drop? And I would really struggle to drop any of them. I would really struggle to get to that point. So I think the situations are slightly different, but Farke has had his own issues to overcome. It's a different style of football. The culture is different, but not a million miles away from it. There is that sense of, towing the line, being professional. He talks an awful lot about that. He will publicly talk about his players if they've done something wrong. He said, I'll criticize you personally, I'll criticize you in front of the group, and then I'll criticize you publicly. So you know where the boundary lines are here. And the football's getting better. It's not quite the swashbuckling constant attack that we had from Bielsa, but maybe it doesn't need to be. And maybe that was one of the mistakes that we did have under Bielsa was we man-marked, and sometimes we weren't pragmatic at times where we should have been. And it's not a criticism of Bielsa. I love the man and I miss the man incredibly. But I think Daniel Farke has maybe given us the balance. It's taken me a while to get used to this football. Like I didn't enjoy the first couple of games. I thought it's too slow. It's too laboured. It's easy to have a low block against Leeds. If you build up slow, give the team time to go in and set up a low block, and then it's impossible to get past them. So, but as the season's gone on, you can see it was a case of just get used to the patterns of play slowly. And then as we get more used to them and more confident, then we can increase the pace. And that's what's happened over the season. So I think he's done a cracking job so far. And I think not necessarily the same bracket as Bielsa because of the 16 years, but still a very impressive feat to get Leeds back up at the first time of asking, given what he walked into.